This right here is my monthly segment where I look back at games that have been largely forgotten over time. This month's entry is an Atari arcade game that never got a console port. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Let's get started. Back in the 1950s and 60s, Hollywood was revolutionizing special effects in movies. Because of this, those decades were just full of crazy and zany sci-fi movies.
The critically acclaimed 1955 classic that set the standard for today's science fiction film.
An innovative film featuring fantastic special effects.
Before the blood-curdling threat of the Blob.
When you have a movie called Teenagers from Outer Space and the classic Plan 9 from Outer Space in that same decade, there is no contest. When you think of cheesy sci-fi B-movies, the 50s has no peer. Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters is a loving arcade video game tribute to those past sci-fi flicks. The title alone is a huge indicator of this. It's a long, drawn-out name that tells a story almost single-handedly without you having to spend a single quarter. This game was released in arcades by Atari Games all the way back in 1989, but it never got a console release. Instead, the game was ported over to many computers of that time. Anyway, the game puts you in control of a pair of interplanetary SWAT team members. You can play solo, or you can go co-op, as you infiltrate Planet X, which, by the looks of this, seems to be orbiting close to Earth. The planet is invaded by the evil Reptilons. In turn, as Reptilons usually tend to do, they enslaved all the humans that resided in Planet X and forced them to start producing a robot army that could be used to invade and take over the Earth. Damn Reptilons and their stupid planet invading ways. Should you choose to accept this dangerous mission, these will be your mission tasks.
Your mission. Transport all hostages back to your ship. Destroy all robots. Rid Planet X of the evil Reptilon. Find and rescue Professor Cerebellum.
Haha, Cerebellum. You gotta love the humor in this game. So you must save Professor Cerebellum and rid her science facility of the Reptilons. You play the game from an isometric view. The arcade used something called Hall effect joysticks. This technology allows for the character movement in 16 different angles versus the usual 8 directional ones found in the arcades at that time. And you're gonna need every one of those angles too, as enemies come at you from all different directions. You got 3 buttons at your disposal. One is to fire, one to jump, and one to crouch. Pressing all 3 at once can activate a small bomb that can take out all enemies near you, but its reach is extremely short. The ray power meter below can be filled slowly as you collect green gems that are dropped by robots and other enemies. But the meter slowly goes down over time, so you have to keep collecting gems to replenish it. The higher the meter, the more powerful your gun blaster. The bad part is that the gems that appear after you defeat the enemies, they tend to disappear real fast. I've gotten the bar filled up to the blue part, but it's really difficult to do that. But upgrading the meter is gonna help you with certain enemies. And speaking of the enemies, you got robots, and more robots. Now, some require more shots than others. Most robots' shots are easy to avoid if you just duck. As you progress in the game, you get to see new enemies, and at that point, ducking is not gonna help you. Drone carts shoot low, so you need to shoot them first or jump to avoid them. If you stand still too long, then you get these killer tracking orbs that fly out from a nearby wall, and they're just gonna kill you with one hit. You also got these rolling metallic orbs or something that squash you, and these dangerous floor tiles that look like upgraded versions from the ones in Gauntlet. You also got spikes and these things that are on the floor and just spin. I guess just in case the robots and the drones don't get you, the reptilons, they installed these things on the floor. They are evil. Oh yeah, and don't forget about the humans. You have to save the humans. I mean, that's the whole point of the game, right? And they are scattered about the levels. Also, try not to shoot them. And sometimes it's really hard because the robots tend to be like right next to the humans, and you have to kill the robots to get to the humans. And you have to time it just right, but sometimes it just goes wrong and you just end up shooting the human and killing them anyway. Another cool detail is that you can shoot most of the scenery. Most of the games back then didn't do that. Wow, and look at this guy here. Now that right there is dedication. And why is it that the females are in bikinis and the men are in shorts and shirts? So reptilons are evil and creeps? Got it. To help you out a bit on your mission, you got food lockers that help you regain health, and bomb lockers that replenish your bombs. You also have to activate stair controls in order to advance further up in the level. God forbid you actually walk up on your own. Hey, even SWAT team members have limits, right? You also get these bonus levels from time to time where you drive a spaceship through some tunnels. If you make it to the end before the time runs out, you get a bonus life meter replenished. This level also lets you choose what path that you take as you work your way towards the final boss. Speaking of bosses, here's a couple of them.
Prepare for battle with the evil reptilon. Use your bomb.
Unfortunately, I've never gotten very far in this game. And the problem is there isn't infinite continues in the arcade, and MAME emulator has iffy save states, and it corrupts the game when they reload after you save them, so that wasn't an option for me. This right here, this is the furthest I ever made it. Now this game right here, it was one of my favorites in the arcades. I loved it, but the high difficulty prevented me from playing it much, because I didn't have a lot of money to start off with when I went to the arcades. And why it never got a console port, that's just beyond me. I have no idea why. But if you had one of these computers back then, you were in luck, because you actually got a port of the game. That last computer name, it doesn't sound like a name of a computer, it sounds more like a car. I'm gonna have to research this one for a future video. Atari games had made another arcade hit in my book. and one that is as fun to play today as it was back in 1989. The isometric view and the cartoony graphics made this game a unique title with some fun gameplay experience. The title alone is something you can't forget. I highly recommend you play this one here at least, or at least give it a try. It's fun, trust me. So that's Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters. Ever play this game? Never heard of it? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Hope you all enjoyed this little trip back to 1989. Stay watching, stay playing, and as always, take care of yourselves.